Hi, this is Mary Collins. I'm going to tell a story for the Unitarian Church in Westport, Connecticut for the children and the teachers. And it is based on a book called Muslim Child by Rukhsana Khan. And it's my adaptation of her story. I'm not Muslim, so I don't know how to say the words right, so I'd rather ask a Muslim friend. But right now, let me just tell the story, and that way you'll see why we're telling it today. It's because we want to be welcoming, and sometimes if you're new to a neighborhood or maybe you're dressed a little differently, you might be a little nervous. So this is a story about that and making friends. So here we go. It's called The Black Ghost. There was a family who moved into the neighborhood who were Muslim, and there was a little boy named Nabil, and it was his first day, and he was rushing in the morning, just like everybody. He rushed in the morning, and he didn't take the bus. He walked to school. He lived close enough. And so the morning of the first day of school, his mom's saying, "Are you nervous?" And he's like, "No, no, not really." And she tries to, kiss him goodbye and go outside to wave, and she puts on, oh wait, she says she has to put on her hijab and her niqab, and so that it covers her. In her religion, this is a modest thing to do, and it shows her faith. And so she put it on, and Danny's looking up and down the street hoping nobody else is outside. Why'd you go back inside, he's thinking. And he says goodbye, and off he runs. And he runs and he runs. He's looking back to make sure she goes back in the house, and she does, and that's when he rounds the corner and goes boom, right into another kid. And the other kid goes, "Oh man, I'm so sorry, the pencils are everywhere, they're picking up the papers and the erasers." And he says, "Hi, I'm Danny, I'm so sorry, I run into people sometimes, I run too fast, you know. So, yeah, what's your name?" "My name's Nabil," he said, "and I'm going to be in the second grade." "Hey," said Danny, "me too, I'm in the second grade." And they found out that they were both in the same class. And so when they walked and talked, they got to talking, and they realized all these things they had in common. And by the time the end of the day happened, they were best buddies. And then every day they started walking together. A couple of days later, when they were doing the morning routine, Nabil's mother puts on her hijab and covers her face again, and she walks outside with him. He goes, "Where are you going?" She said, "Well, to the store, if it matters to you," she said. "Oh, okay," said Nabil. He starts to run really fast. And so she runs to catch up with him, too. And they get to where the place is, and Nabil is thinking, "Phew, glad Danny's not here yet." His mother takes a left, and she goes into town. And Nabil lets out a big breath and keeps walking to school. Does not long after when he hears really fast footsteps behind him, and Danny has raced up and grabbed his hand and is pulling him along. "What's the matter, Danny?" Because Danny's got this wild look on his face. "I'll tell you when we get to school. Run!" And so they run into school, all out of breath, and the teacher turns and says, "Danny, were you climbing trees again? Did you have trouble getting down?" And he says, No, I saw a ghost, a black ghost." Nabil says, "No, you didn't. You didn't see a ghost." And another girl says, "Well, how do you know you didn't see a ghost?" "Well," he says, "maybe you just saw somebody wearing, different clothes and stuff." Well, Danny said, "Who would wear such a scary thing? I couldn't see anything, slits for the eyes and maybe just the hands. Oh, it was floating along. It was really scary." "Oh," said Nabil. And that's when the teacher saved him by saying, "Class, we'll talk more about this later. Let's sit down. We got to get started. Everybody sit in their seats." And so they did, and they started their day. And then it got to be the end of the day, and Danny and Nabil were walking home, and Danny said, "Nabil, how come we never go to your house to play?" And Nabil was thinking, "Well, I don't know. I guess I'll ask. You want to play hide and seek?" "Okay," said Danny. "We'll play hide and seek." So they were walking towards the field and everything, and there were some trees on the edge, and there was a really pretty open field, but there were places you could hide. And they went there, and they started to play, and Danny covered his eyes. Nabil covered his eyes, and Danny went and hid. And so Danny was hiding, and Nabil went looking, and he couldn't find him. And finally he gave up, and he yelled at him, "Hey, where are you, Danny?" And Danny called from high in a tree, really high up. And he said, "I'm up here." And he laughed. "Well, that's a good hiding place. I didn't think you'd go that high." And that's when Danny's face turned white, because he kind of realized he was awfully high, and he was afraid to come down. He said, "Come on down." "No," said Danny, "I don't want to come down. I don't think I can come down." "Well," Nabil said, "I'll go find help." "No, don't go." And he said, "I have to. I can't get you down by myself." So he turned to go, and that's when there was a crack in the branch. And oh my gosh, Danny screamed, and he held on really tight. He landed on another branch, but he was scared, and so was Nabil. And he turned to run, and that's when Danny yelled, "Dude, it's the black ghost!" And Nabil was so relieved he ran right into his mother. And she took 2 steps. She kept running right to that tree, and she started to climb that tree. And Danny closed his eyes. He was terrified. And finally, there was another crack, and he was falling out of the tree, and there was a black arm that grabbed him and put him on a big, thick branch. "Whew," she said for a while. "You're heavy," she said. Are you okay?" And he said, he couldn't say anything. He was just looking, and then he realized this person had like really pretty black eyes. And she smelled a little bit like his mother, like soap. And she started to talk, and he's like, "Oh, you know how to climb trees?" And she said, "Yeah, I do. But let's rest a minute. You ready to go down yet?" And he said, "You're not a ghost." And she said, "No, I'm not a ghost." And that's when Nabil said, "That's my mom, Danny." And he was looking like really nervous. And actually, Danny was feeling nervous that Nabil would feel badly about him, because he was so afraid and scared to come down, and made a mistake about Nabil's mom. And well, anyway, it wasn't long before they got down to the bottom of the tree, and she set him down, and she said, "You want us to walk you home?" And well, I don't know. I guess I can myself. And she said, "We can walk you home. Hey, would you like a lollipop?" And she dug around in the middle of her dress, and she pulled out a lollipop. And that's when Danny smiled. He said, that would be a good idea." And he had the lollipop, and they walked him home. And Danny said, "You still my friend, Nabil?" And Nabil smiled a big smile. He goes, "If you are mine." And Danny said, "Yeah, I am your friend." And he said, "Hey, why didn't you tell me your mom was so nice?" And that's the story of the black ghost.